Hey there, James Craddock here with the iGestalt Creative Thinking Strategy. You are in the conscious arena, and this is probably the most misunderstood arena of the seven. Simply because we give it we lend it more credibility than our strategy lends it. This is where I said you might have some issues with some of our ideas, and understand that, again, this is our strategy. This is a strategy, and in order for this strategy to work, we have to look at the conscious arena in a little bit different way than it is traditionally looked at from a psychological standpoint, and the way most people use the word consciousness. In the introduction, we looked at the hard problem of consciousness, and pretty much diffused that problem via our strategy. And that's because I don't see the conscious arena so much being your conscious. Meaning, the conscious arena is just that. It's an environment. It's an arena. And if we keep ourselves grounded in the fact that it's an arena and it's not an all-in-all, it's not a conclusion. It's not the end. It's just a means to an end. It's just one of the seven arenas. The real end is our spirit and our soul, and the real end is the culmination of all seven arenas working together. But too often we look at the conscience or the consciousness and say, okay, that is everything. That's the whole universe all wrapped into this kind of ether that we're all a part of. And there is some validity to what we're saying there, but it's too vague. It doesn't break it down into mechanisms that we can control. But the conscious arena, being built on that same framework that we're building all these arenas on, tends to just be nothing more than a mechanism. It's a powerhouse. It actually controls our moment-to-moment processes. But it doesn't necessarily have this more dynamic effect on all of us. The conscious awareness that we have, that we nickname reality or call reality, in our strategy is a culmination of all these arenas working together. And we've kind of discussed that. It's not just this conscious arena. This conscious arena is much more like the RAM in a computer, and coming from that background, I use that a lot, but it's like that working memory. It takes the information out of your subconscious and all the other inputs, and it manifests your physical processes right then and there out of that conscious arena. And then when you go to sleep, it kind of does a data dump, and your conscious just blanks out. It's gone. And you're operating at a much lower frequency, and you're in your conscious arena, and we talk more about that, and I'm probably touching on areas that you're just as familiar or more familiar with than I am. And that conscious arena just kind of collapses. It's no longer being used. If somebody is out of their mind, we don't say they were out of their subconscious. What we're saying is they were out of their conscious mind. They did not consciously understand what they were doing. Their RAM was not filled with the right programs, and they weren't processing in an aware state. If somebody sleepwalks, they're sleepwalking. What an amazing thing to watch. And I've got my son on video when he was like 4, getting up and sleepwalking, and I'm giving him commands and confusing him as he's bare naked running back and forth through the house, thinking it's 7 a.m. and 7 p.m. all at the same time. And, I was telling him, why aren't you dressed? It's time for school. And he looked at himself and realized he was naked. And I said, mighty fine suit you have on. And it was like, oh, thanks, Dad. I'm getting ready to go. And I spent a few moments, I spent a good 2 or 3 minutes while he was sleepwalking, kind of interacting with him, and it was just like he was under hypnosis. And there he was not in his conscious mind. He was truly in his subconscious, and he was operating directly out of that. And the conscious mind is full of mechanisms that allow us to interpret the data that's coming from both ends of the spectrum, from the top arenas, from the physical arena, the eternal arena, all the other arenas. They kind of culminate in the conscious mind, in that memory area, and then they play out throughout our body and how we interact and how we talk, and everything I'm doing right now is in the conscious arena. And And it's interesting because when you get good at it, you can stay in the conscious arena and slip into the subconscious or the sixth sense and then come back. And a lot of times people do this, daydreaming, things of that nature. But to be able to do it purposefully and wire the two together makes you very, very focused and gives you a clarity and a purpose and a power that is almost supranatural and can be very beneficial to you. But that being said, this conscious arena is it's really just a workhorse. Its purpose is to take all the inputs that it's getting from all the different arenas and transmit them into physical and verbal outputs and to create an interaction, and it kind of acts as a mechanism or a lever to your spirit and to the rest of your interaction, your personality, etc. So we're going to talk about the conscious arena. You're going to see how it's set up, and then we're going to have to do a lot of extra videos that you'll be able to download that will really address it in our everyday lives. So look forward to this video, and don't forget, creativity is the sixth sense. We're on our way.